So, Drew, somebody like you who has seen the worst of the worst, all right, and the one problem with police is you have to shut down your emotions whenever you're at a difficult scene. You have to shut down your emotions, do your job. So what happens to police officers a lot of times is you shut down your emotions in your home life too, because you're so used to doing it. It's counterintuitive to human behavior. How hard was it? Could you shut down your emotions because your son was involved in this?
I did the best I could do. I mean, you become callous to a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, your son's involved. You're like, oh man, it's your kid. But you try to be firm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you try to be
Stoic.
right,
Yeah.
right, and you try to, yeah, okay, everything's good, bro. Don't worry, you know, everything's good, and you give him that support he needs, that lift up, and he's good to go. You know,
Do you think it's the right thing that we do with one another?
that's how it's always been, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be like, yeah, I'm a man.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of them things. But really, a lot of people really need more than that, a lot more than that.
Right.
And you see later on down the road, people who suffer from post-traumatic stress injury don't get the proper help that they need.
Mm-hmm. My partner.
Yeah.
My partner. He's a prime example. He just took his life on May 19th.
Yeah, sorry.
Or May 9th. I'm sorry, guys.
It's tragic.
It's tragic because we hurt inside. We suffer in silence. Now, Salvatore, did he have any after effects from that incident?
No, I mean, I'm sure if you can't say it didn't affect him, but it didn't affect him where he couldn't go out and do his job or was afraid to do his job. You know, if anything, it motivated him more to be like, okay, you know, this is what I have to do. I have to be able to protect my fellow officers, protect the fellow community. I mean, it just made him more motivated.
So for him, it killed maybe a little bit of complacency that was coming in. You know, 'cause we all get complacent. Listen, you see one incident 100 times and you're like, oh, okay, there's another one.
Right. I think for him in Camden, it was such a good training.
Yeah, he was
for the
full of
next
piss and
step.
vinegar because he was young.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be there. You know, them guys, first answer up on the job, last to show up. You know, if he answered up last on the job, he'd be the first one there. Like, you know, he's just one of them guys.
But it was such a good training for him because it wasn't just like a local town where you get complacent, like, oh, it's another car stop. And I always would tell him, it doesn't matter what car stop, if you see a senior citizen in there, you always have to assume that maybe they're not on their medication or something's wrong, or you always have to assume that they may hurt you. So you always have to, don't get complacent. And, you know, I think that was one of the things he really did strive for, was not to just sit back and just take a night or a shift. Just like, oh, I'll make it home in the morning. He knew, you know, that he might not, or something could happen, but that he was going to do his best regardless.